there, Miss Kaiser here, and we are going to start learning the anatomy of the heart. We're going to start with the exterior of the heart. So we're not looking inside the heart yet. So what you're going to need for this, you're going to need two different colors. You're going to need the color blue and you're going to need the color red. So go ahead and pause the video and grab yourself some colored pencils or some markers. You're also going to need just regular ink as well. So a black pen or a pencil will do just fine. All right, so the reason why I had you grab a blue and a red color is because we have first now learned that the heart is essentially two different pumps. It's got four chambers, but two different pumps. One pump pumps to the lungs so the blood can receive oxygen. And then once the blood receives oxygen, it's going to come back to the heart as oxygenated blood. And then the heart is then going to pump that fresh blood to the rest of the body. So two pumps, one to the lungs, one to the body. So to represent deoxygenated blood, we're going to use the color blue. And to represent oxygenated blood, we're going to use the color red. Now, the first thing to understand is orientation. What side of the heart are we looking at? Well, I can tell that we are looking at the anterior side of the heart. So anterior is the front view of the heart, okay? Posterior would be the back side of the heart. So if I was looking straight at you at your face, I'd be looking at the anterior side of you. If I was looking at your back side, I'd be looking at the posterior. So we're looking at the front side of the heart. So I want you to picture this heart inside a person. So you're looking straight at the person, at their face, and you're looking at the front side of their heart. Now, this is the left side of my paper, but we're not going to label left and right based on the left and right side of our paper. We're going to label it the left and right side based on the left and right side of the organism. So if you picture this heart inside a human, this would be the right side of the human, right? And this would be the left side of the human because you're facing them. So you should be able to now answer this question here in your lab journal. We're looking at the anterior side. All right, so let's label some things here. So we are going to start with our color blue because we're going to start labeling the right side of the heart. The right side of the heart is the pulmonary side of the heart because it involves pumping blood to the lungs. So all the blood on the right side of the heart is going to contain deoxygenated blood, which is why we're going to use the color blue. So let's start with labeling the right side. So at the top here, remember we've got four chambers of the heart. The two top chambers are the atriums. So this right here would be the right atrium. So I'm going to put RA for right atrium. And then the lower chamber is the ventricle. So this would be the right ventricle. Okay. Now, blood comes into the right atrium through what's called the vena cavas. So I'm going to label this right here, and you're going to write it all out. If you need help with spelling, they're down here on your lab journal. But I'm just going to use abbreviations, but I want you to write out the full word. So this vein, this vessel, is called the superior vena cava. Okay, and practice your pronunciation with these two, superior vena cava. And then this one down here, this one also dumps into the right atrium. This is the inferior vena cava. Okay, so blood's coming in from the bottom half of the body, from the top half of the body, through the superior and inferior vena cavas, and it comes into the right atrium. And then it'll go into the right ventricle. From there, blood is going to go from the right ventricle and it's going to get pumped through another vessel. Okay, this is another vein. And this is called the pulmonary veins. Again, you're going to write out the full word. I'm just going to use abbreviations. Okay, so this right here is the pulmonary vein, and it eventually branches out to become the pulmonary veins. So you've got the right pulmonary veins that are going to go to the right lung, and then you've got the left pulmonary veins that are going to go to the left lung. And we'll label those a little bit more specifically when we get to the interior side of the heart. You'll be able to see that pulmonary vein branches off to the left and right side to pick up oxygen from the lungs. Okay, So now blood is oxygenated, so we're now going to switch to our red color. And so now we're dealing with the systemic pump of the heart, the left side of the heart. So blood is going to come back from the lungs. So it's going to come back from both sides, the left lung, and it's going to come back from the right lung. And you can't really see it on the anterior side of the heart, but it is kind of sticking out right here. These are arteries, okay? These are pulmonary arteries. So again, you're going to write out the full word here, but these are pulmonary arteries, and they come from the lungs and they come back into the heart. And so blood is now red, okay? Blood is now considered red or drawn as red because it's picked up oxygen. So it's going to come back and it's going to come into the left atrium, okay? So that is this section here of the heart. And then it's going to go into the left ventricle. Okay. From there, blood is then going to go into this vessel here. This is called the aorta. Okay, so there we go. We've learned the left side versus the right side of the heart. The right side's the pulmonary side. It pumps to the lungs. The left side is the systemic side. It pumps from the lungs it takes fresh blood from the lungs and pumps it to the body. Okay. So, and then again, we're looking at the anterior view of the heart. Now, the whole path of blood flow through the heart is going to be a little bit more clear when we can look at the interior of the heart. Let's make sure that our questions are answered on this page. So one thing I've left out that we need to touch base on is the apex. So the apex of the heart is right here, okay? And that's just the center of the heart. It's kind of the main point of the heart. So right here is the apex. And when you receive your hearts, when we dissect, we need to make sure that we are going to be dissecting it from the anterior side. So the apex points down to the left side of the heart. That's how you know that you're looking at the anterior side. The next thing that we need to label is the coronary arteries. So this large artery right here, this aorta, it branches off into many, many different arteries, and it branches off throughout the entire body. It also branches around and covers around the exterior of the heart through what's called the coronary arteries. So these arteries are on the outside of the heart, and the heart is a tissue as well. The heart is an organ as well, so it needs blood. So the heart pumps blood to the whole body, but it also pumps it to itself. All of these tissues of the heart need fresh blood, and so the coronary arteries are going to deliver that fresh oxygenated blood to all of the heart tissues. Coronary artery gets the word corona, crown, because it kind of encircles the heart, kind of like a crown does. And the thing about coronary arteries is it delivers fresh oxygenated blood to heart tissues. So if any part of the coronary arteries gets occluded or blocked, usually by fat and plaques, that can cause these heart muscles to die. And that's what causes a heart attack. All right, so make sure that you have your parts labeled. Make sure you give your a chance to study this, and make sure that these questions in your lab journal are answered fully and completely, and make sure you reach out if you have any questions.